Hi everybody, this is Dr. Mac. I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about how to deal with pokey wires. There's a couple of different reasons that you might have a pokey wire. And reason number one, and the most common, is actually because you have a wire that has shifted in your mouth, okay? And so what I want to point out is in this case, on one side, there's no wire sticking out the back, right? And on the other side, there's a lot of extra wire sticking out of the back, okay? So the easiest way to deal with that is to simply take some kind of instrument. You could use a tweezer or something like that and slide the wire over. So when you slide the wire over, you will have more even amounts of wire and it will be less irritating. Very little sticking out on this side, none sticking out on this side. So that's a really simple solution and it works great, especially when you have very thin wires and when you're at the beginning of your treatment. That's the time when the wire is most likely to be sliding around in your mouth, but that's also a time that's pretty easy for you to slide the wire back if you've got one side that's poking or bothering you. Another thing that you can do when you have wires that are just a little bit long on both sides is you can actually use wax to just cover those ends. And I'm actually going to link to that video also in this video. Okay, so I'll put a link for that to show you how to use wax in order to cover those areas. So in some cases, if it's really long on that one side and you can't slide the wire, you might have to use a nail clipper. First choice would be a nail clipper, but that might not always work. And if that's the case, then you can actually use a wire cutter and you can cut it here. If you can't cut it for whatever reason, you could try to use a wire cutter or a cuticle cutter and bend it. Just grab the end of the wire and bend it down so it's more comfortable. That doesn't always work if you've got really flexible high-tech wires. So in those cases, you might actually have to take a nail clipper or a wire cutter and actually cut that piece of wire off. So the last technique I want to show you is when you have a wire that's loose all the way in the back. And what's actually happened here is you've got a bracket that's loose. So this bracket is flopping around and sometimes it can get flipped over. So it can get flipped over like this. And when it's flipped over upside down, it's really irritating to your lips and cheek. So first thing, if you can, we'd love for you to be able to keep everything intact. In that case, he starts with just seeing if you can get the wire flipped over and get it more comfortable. And once it's flipped over, it's going to be much more comfortable and you can use wax to cover it as needed. And we've linked to that. But sometimes that's not going to be quite enough and you might actually have to cut the wire. So again, you can use a nail cutter or a cuticle cutter or even a just trusty handy dandy wire cutter. So what you want to do is you want to cut the wire as close as you can at the bracket in front of where the bracket is loose. So then that whole section of wire will come out and be much more comfortable for you there. And then if you have a little sharp end there, you can still cover that with a little bit of wax. We hope that helps. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're looking forward to seeing you and continuing to take care of you in our office. Keep smiling.